So is having an iPhone 6 still worth it in 2019? Go back to September 2014 and the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus originally came out. These iPhones rocked a brand new design that continued for the next 3 generations of iPhones, and that design is still being sold today in the iPhone 7 and 8. However, how do they hold up in 2019, and are they worth buying? So the iPhone 6 that I have here cost me around about £80, what's around about $100 US. It comes with a 64GB space built inside it, and at the same time as well, it didn't come with a charger or anything, but the battery life in it at the moment sucks because it's probably the original, but we'll get onto that in a moment. So quick brief history. The iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus were Apple's first try at a new bigger screen design, as there was pressure from rivals like Samsung with their Note series with screens of around the sizes about 5.5 inches big, and also the Galaxy phones at the time having a screen of just over 5 inches big as well. Apple fans were wanting a bigger screen iPhone, and it paid off, as still today the iPhone 6 is the best selling smartphone of all time, shipping over 220 million devices worldwide. Now that is a lot of devices out there, but when the iPhone 6 came out it did have a few issues. One of them was known as the bendgate issues. Now I'm not going to demonstrate this on this iPhone 6 that I have here. If you want to go and see what that's all about, go and look up another YouTube video because I'm sure somebody is demonstrating that. A long story short, the aluminium that Apple used was of a lower grade to make the iPhone lighter and thinner. Apple love to do this with their products, but on this instant it caused the iPhone to actually bend. This in return could, or more likely would, damage the screen or touch sensor on the screen, and in some cases cause the iPhone to totally stop working. So if you do buy one second hand, first thing to check is that the iPhone isn't bent and the screen and touch sensitivity is all working fine. That is the main negative about the phone when it came out. So let's look at the rest of the iPhone. The biggest feature about these phones were the size of them. They came out with a 4.7 inch screen for the normal 6, while the iPhone 6 Plus had a 5.5 inch screen. In comparison, the last iPhone, that was the 5S and the 5C, had only 4 inches size screens. The iPhone had grown nearly by a quarter to a third of its original size. Other features had come over from the 5S, including the home button with the first generation Touch ID, which still works really well today, together with the full aluminium frame and body as well. I'm being honest, for the design wise, I'm not the biggest fan of this iPhone. My favourite still today is the iPhone 4 and the 4S, but the aluminium design to me just seems a bit clunky. Even back then, the bezels of a rival Samsung were smaller. However, there are still some good features on this iPhone. The fantastic 8 megapixel camera that also came from the 5S is also on the rear of this phone and allows you to get some good snaps, like these example ones here. As you can see, outside pictures come out quite clearly, and even a macro shot here is fairly reasonable. The video also records in 1080p, and today that's still quite okay to watch on a small screen or even a TV under 50 inches that is 1080p or 4K. There is also the ability to do slow-mo as well on this phone, and you can do it up to 240 frames per second, but they will only record at 720p. However, normal slow-mo works just fine at 1080p for 120 frames per second. The camera will be fine for most people out there, and at the end of the day this was one of the best cameras out there in 2013 to around 2015. However, it's not going to cut something what you can get today, say on the Pixel 3 or the Hawaii P30 Pro or even the iPhone XS. It's just not going to be up to that kind of level. On to the worst point of the cameras, and this is the front facing camera, and it is bad. And I mean, it is really bad. It has a measly 1.2 megapixel. In perspective, remember the iPhone original came out in 2007, so that's now, when this video is being made, it's 12 years old. Well, it had a better rear camera than this one it has on the front. So selfies, if you can call them that, look really bad. I wouldn't really take any pictures with this front camera. However, for a quick FaceTime call, this should suffice fine. But you might look bad when you're calling on say an iPad Pro or a Retina Mac. Your picture might not look as good. Other features include NFC for Apple Pay, what is handy, and also Touch ID to keep everything all secure. Now let me tell you the best reason to have these iPhone 6s. I would argue with good average screen sizes and with iOS 12 running on these iPhones, that coupled with buying them fairly cheap on the second-hand market, one thing you should not have to worry about is breaking parts on this iPhone. To show you, an iPhone 6 screen with the front camera, speaker and FaceTime mic only costs £13, what is about $16 US, and that comes with the tools as well. The rear camera costs about £5, so that's about $6.50, what is crazy. Or say that the charging port or the headphone port or the main mic is broken, that'll only cost you about £4 or just over $5. Even a new battery with tools costs about £7.50, what's just under $10 US. And upgrades and changing parts on these iPhones are super cheap, and that is why I say this is the best feature about this phone. Now with battery life with this iPhone I have here, I was guessing about 4 hours of normal usage or about 16 hours of standby time. But remember, it is 5 years old, and I'm sure the previous owner has put the iPhone through its paces. But as the battery is only going to cost me £7, this is definitely worth changing. Then with a quick look at iFix guides, with the correct tools that were given with the battery, you can get this iPhone up and running with a new battery within 13 minutes. For me, the battery now can get through a whole day and a half on standby time, or about 8 hours for say watching like YouTube or Netflix. So this is livable if you go to work for the day and then come home and do an hour's top up, for example. A reason why the iPhone is like this is because apps and iOS are far more demanding on power than it was say 5 years ago. iPhone 6 has Apple's A8 chipset and also 1GB of RAM. In today's world, that is very usable running iOS 12, and it's better than say running on an iPhone 5S running iOS 12. However, any brand new games and apps that have came out in the last year or two will have been built for the current Apple chipset and higher RAM, so you'll see slower loading times and bigger drains on battery life. With a finalised iOS 13 coming out in about 6 months' time from now, if this iPhone even gets that update, then I think only basic tasks will work, and apps and games running like Pokemon Go era will probably work fine, but anything with intense graphics or anything that came out beyond that time with newer graphics will probably struggle on this phone. So to me, if you're looking to get a phone for just the iOS experience and to browse the web, news, stream Netflix, then this phone is a bargain, and I'd say go and get it now. Also, I would say that this is a great phone for kids as a hand-me-down, as you know, just here, an iPhone 6 with a new battery will work absolutely fine for them. Also, you have the comfort that a smash screen is only going to cost you about £13 or about $16. It's also a good phone, I would say, for elderly as well who want to buy out a second-hand phone outright and then just stick a normal SIM inside it. However, if you can stretch another £50 or say about $65 US, then you could probably get yourself an iPhone 7 second-hand. It's basically the same design except for a headphone jack is missing, and spare parts do come in at a couple more dollars than an iPhone 6. Personally, I would say the jump from a 6 to a 7 is worth it, and to skip the 6S if you're looking for bargains, as the 7 is more of a jump upgrade than a jump to the 6S. So the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus were great phones when they came out in 2014. Here we are 5 years later and they still work really well. It does give you that full iOS experience that you can have, and it gives you basically most of the features that Apple provides out on their latest iOS software, and you can use them on this phone. So I'd recommend this being a very good phone still today. Well guys, that's it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, please leave any comments below, and please do press that like button as well. And also please do subscribe to my channel. I'll be talking more about older Apple technology and how it can still be used in 2019, just like this iPhone we have here, and also on Macs and iMacs and MacBooks and all sorts of other devices as well. Well, until next time, I'll see you soon guys. Bye.